Okay, I think we can get started. So good afternoon and welcome to our webinar on the power of AI for finance, an introduction. And do please enjoy your lunch. Before we get started, I would like to share some housekeeping rules. So please choose your audio to receive audio. We recommend you to use a full screen, especially during the demonstration. During the webinar, you will be muted. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them using the chat or the Q&A section. This webinar will be recorded and the slides will be shared afterwards. So first of all, you hear me talking now. My name is Stijn Hermans. I do the new business development for AXIS Belgium within the business unit CPM. I will first start with a short introduction on AXIS and Jedox and how to use it. And then I will do the wrap up. We also have Christian in the webinar today. He will do the demonstration. Maybe Christian, you can say hi as well.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. For now, I will leave it up to Stijn, and in the second half of the webinar, I will provide a demonstration of the Jedox software indeed. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Christian. So before we get started, who is AXIS? So we are divided in two main business units. The first one is actually BI, BI for finance, and the CPM. This means corporate performance management, the key financial processes within an organization. When you think about planning, budget, forecast, the consolidation, management reporting, and that kind of stuff. If we think about BI, this is the BI for finance. These are the let's say the main dashboards the CFO wants to see, for example, KPI dashboard, strategic goals dashboard, and this kind of stuff. You also see here data integration, and for us this is very important. This is the second business unit we have, because it's very important to have a good financial, let's say, solution. The data integration has to be very well done, and this is why we have the second business unit all about big data and data governance. When we think about big data, of course, this is a very big term. This can be a lot. But for us, this means how to connect your data within your organization and turn this data into good information to get your decisions right and up and running. Next to that, we have the data governance. This means how you will organize your data within your organization. For example, the master data management, the data itself and the metadata, and how this will be, let's say, managed within your organization and give it a meaningful definition to it. So we not only have these two main business units, let's say, but we also have a service department. And this means that we believe strongly that to have a good solution, it has to be a full package. Not only the search for the best of breed application, but we can also assist you with the full solution. This can be a gap assessment where we look at your as-is situation and the to-be situation. Or once you get started with us, we can help with the implementation. And before we start with the implementation, of course, there's a blueprint phase, technical design. Once it's delivered, there's UAT, there's training and support. One of our main partnerships here at the bottom, you see, today we're going to focus on Jedox. And who's Jedox? Well, Jedox is a German company existing since 2002. And they provide a strong business-oriented, innovative solution for FP&A. They have very good business reviews by Bark, by Gardner, and by Dressner. And this is why for us, this is one of the best of breed applications for CPM, meaning the planning, budgeting, forecasting, reporting part of today. So let's say the topic of today, talk about AI. And what is AI? Well, actually, artificial intelligence is where the human intelligence is augmented by the capabilities of computer programs to create actually intelligent machines. This means that when you have human and machine together, you get good transformation. So this does not mean that these machines will take over the human tasks. No, this means that they will be automated and optimizing the processes based on computer systems that are fed with large amounts of data, which are then used to, let's say, carry out specific tasks for the human. For example, this can be planning, this can be problem solving, reasoning, and many other things. So here at the bottom again, you see a couple of, let's say, examples of artificial intelligence in practice. One of this is Google AI. We all know Google. We all know Google is taking a lot of effort into artificial intelligence. There's also Accenture. They have written a book about machine and human together and how to improve your, let's say, position within the digital transformation. And there's as well Microsoft facial recognition, which is going very fast lately. Then on the next slide, so how can we now use artificial intelligence in finance? Well, when we create our strategic planning or our annual budgeting, this is normally done within or on a strategic level. If we talk about a more detailed forecasting process based on historical data, for example, then this can be a monthly forecast, this can be a weekly or even a daily forecast. And AI delivers you then an automated and accurate forecasting system where the benefits are to get it more frequent, especially these days. More frequent forecast can be very valuable. And it will be more detailed and you can do easy simulations. So this is what Christian now is going to show you for the live demonstration, how easy it is to be set up within Jedox, an artificial intelligence based on driver-based things. So now, Christian, the floor is yours.
Many thanks, Stijn, for your introduction. Well, to proceed with this this part of the webinar, I'm going to show you just an easy way of how to implement an AI functionality within your Jedox model. And for some of you, you might have already seen other webinars iAccess has provided about Jedox. We, for instance, have some webinar series in which we show you how to create a model based on your own Excel sheets or how to further analyze and plan and forecast. And in those webinar series, we also showed some examples of how to include a forecast in your planning processes, including the possibility to add an AI-infused forecast. And for today, I would like to show you in just a very short amount of time how you can easily start with an AI model yourself using the Jedox wizard, which has become available earlier this year. And to do that, I will switch to the Jedox environment right now. So I will take over the control and move on to the Jedox screen. And I'm going to log in into Jedox. And for those who have seen it before, of course, this is familiar. For those who haven't seen Jedox ever before, this is the main screen for the key user. So when you have access to all the capabilities of Jedox, you will see them on the left side. So there's a space for reporting, for designing, for modeling and creating integrations, for scheduling everything. And there's a marketplace, there's a view for your models, and of course the administration is set up. And what I'm going to show you is not in detail how Jedox works and what all kinds of capabilities are available, but just one model. And this is available in the marketplace. So if you already have access to Jedox or you are searching on the Jedox website, you can see this overview of all the models that are available. And if you look in, it starts with the A, so AI is pretty upfront. And if you look in the marketplace, you will see this model. And this is just the wizard-based model Jedox provides for Jedox users, in which you can just easily create an AI model yourself. So it becomes just with predefined algorithms. And it's very easy to start with. And there are some documentation available, some print screen, a video. There are some other informations about the AI wizard from Jedox themselves. And if you look here, you can always also check in some documents like here. So very easy, for instance, there's to introduce you, there's the Jedox engine makes use of algorithms and they are explained right here. So you can just click through. And it's just for business people who, just like me, for instance, are not that familiar with AI, with algorithms, with all kinds of methods that are used, but you're interested in learning more about it. You can just easily get to this PowerPoint and just get introduced into the capabilities and how it works, what it does, what are some basic contents, basic concepts of AI, and then you can move forward. To go back to Jedox, I already installed this model, so you can just do it from the marketplace. There's a trial available. I already installed it, and if I want to start it, I will hit back to my home screen, sorry, where I came from, and I already pinned it here to my starting page to go to the AI wizard. I have two options right now, These are shown both here on the left side and also here on this front end that has been created. And I have two options. One is the time series prediction and one is the driver-based prediction. The time series prediction is based on just one figure, one measure, time usually. You forecast based on historical data. And the driver-based prediction can work with multiple data sets, multiple sources basically for your prediction. And I will show you just a quick example of both and just how to work with the model and use it into your own application. I will start the wizard first from the time series wizard, and then you can get an overview of cubes and algorithms that are used and when you have changed them. And I will first show you the example of what this gives you in this case. This gives you an overview of the prediction for a measure called gross revenue. And in the graph here below, the prediction is shown as the red line. And also, I have to hover a little bit careful, the lower bound and the upper bound of the prediction are also shown in the graph, and the details are explained in the table here below. And besides just the prediction and the upper and lower bound, I can also compare it with another measure in my model. In this case, my actual gross revenue is shown, but I can also choose for, if I have it available, my budget, my forecast, maybe a forecast that has been built up bottom up or a target that has been set. You can use previous year planning, mid-year planning. Maybe you have a 5-year plan in place, which you can use. Or you can just use maybe sales input, which has been provided to compare it with. Or you can use this prediction and write it away and use it in your budgeting application, for instance, as a baseline to start planning for the next year. I will get back to that later on. I will now first show you how it works in the wizard. So to do that, I will start the wizard by the pencil icon right here. And I will show you all the steps you have to walk through to get a time series prediction. It starts in step 2. So I will get back one step to go to step 1, in which I can select a cube and a data structure. So I have a demonstration cube right here. It contains my version, of course, the time. I have a company structure with multiple legal entities. This example company is a wholesaler of bicycle articles. So I have articles on SKU level. I work with customers. I can invoice in multiple currencies. And I have a separate measure for my sales planning. I hit next, and Jedox is going to validate this cube structure. And then in the next steps, I can further define what prediction I would like to make. As Jedox is doing that, we are waiting a second for the validation. And then in the next steps, Jedox will allow me to choose a time. So I have historical data from 2016 July to 2019 December. And that's 42 months of data, which is enough. Usually for this kind of predictions, 36 months is advised to have at minimum. I look at my actuals and I want to right away, basically, I would just like to store the data into a different version I included. It's called the prediction data. And I want to predict gross revenue. But for the same ID, I could also predict units or a cost structure or anything you'd like. I can narrow down the selection a little bit, which is wise in this kind of cases, because you can, of course, if you don't narrow down your selection, it becomes a very less accurate prediction. I work with one legal entity in this case, one article or one group of articles in this case, and I only look at gross revenue in euros. Otherwise, it would be a little bit biased, of course. And that's stored in Jedox in this application as local currency. When I hit next, Jedox asked me how to predict my prediction. And in this case, I want to look at monthly figures because I also have my actuals stored on a monthly basis. I want to look forward in time for 12 months. And for prediction type, I choose whatever I would want, or I choose best. And if you are more familiar with different kinds of algorithms, you might know which kind is best to choose for a different kind of prediction. So of course there's the linear model, but if you're a little bit more familiar with it, you know, for instance, for seasonality patterns, cold winters can be very accurate for prediction, but you need quite a lot of data, especially for multi-years. And for other kinds of yeah, predictions, if you would like the engine to go more into a kind of a searching mode, to clustering of data and stuff like that, there are other different algorithms available. Well, if you're not an expert, you can just as well, like me, choose for the best one. Then Jedox will further, just based on the data, identify which is the best one and use that for the prediction. I can detect outliers in my data automatically. I can create an accuracy cube in which the Jedox engine automatically will store data about the accuracy of the prediction itself. And if I want to do this on a regular basis, I can schedule it. So if I want to, for instance, use it in one of my reports, I can just schedule the prediction to run every day, for instance. Then when I hit next on the right bottom of the screen, I can move forward and tell Jedox, okay, I am ready to move forward, and it might take some time based on the data volumes. Yes, that's true. And then I can execute. What it does right now, it's sending the data to the AI server, and the AI server is using its computing power to to calculate the algorithms and create the output, of course. And when I go back and show you the output, the preview is already defined here. And yeah, this is what I just showed you before. And what I can also do here, for instance, is just look a little bit back in how the prediction has been made. So here I compare it with my actuals. I can also compare it with other figures like I showed you. So if you have a budget which might not be the same, of course, you can also compare it with. If you work with multiple forecasts, maybe quarterly forecast for the rest of the year, for instance, or you have previous year data, you can easily compare your prediction to that. And in the table here below, you also have the ability to look back and also see how the actuals, for instance, compare to the prediction. So in this set, I had actuals from 2016 on to 2019 used for my data modeling. And I have actuals again available also for 2020 until March, which the last 3 months have not been used in the prediction in this case. But I can compare, of course, also the prediction based on the historical data. So that's really where the model has learned how to predict, and it created a prediction for every month. And then from 2021 on, these are not based on the actuals anymore, but purely on the prediction. And this allows me just for a quick comparison and just also see the accuracy, for instance. And you can see, for instance, that in March, it's not very accurate. So that's something to look into if I want to use this as a baseline, for instance, to maybe for my budget or for a forecast. Okay, having said that, I would like to show you one more thing in this quick demonstration already, and that's if you want to extend it a little bit and move forward to the driver-based production and include multiple data sets, multiple sources, then I move forward to the screen of driver-based prediction. And again, I have this kind of wizard available in which I can just tell Jedox which data I want to predict. And the steps are quite the same, but of course there's a big difference, because in the second step of the wizard, if I move forward in step 1, I just select the cube again. In this cube, I included external data. We have stored our sales data, including planning and actuals, in a cube. And we also included the per day in which season we are, if it's a holiday or not, if it's a working day or not, and what the weather was. So if we include this data, we stored it, we can easily compare those and tell Jedox that these are our source measures for our prediction. So we want to really tell the model how it's supposed to learn right now. And we want to tell Jedox that we want to look into the last 2 years. And our estimation is, or what we want to guess, is that temperature change, temperature itself, and the wind speed per day could be sources or influencers for the units. And the units are the number of bikes we rent out. So it's a bike rental company, so we expect that these will have an impact on the number of bikes we can rent per day. If I want to narrow it down a little bit, I can choose it here. So for instance, we are very interested in holidays and not holidays, working days, all weather, definitely. What could be the case is, for instance, if you're closed for a part of the year, you can exclude some days or some weeks or months. Or for instance, if you do not want to include a season, because depending on where you're at, the winter season, for instance, is not really comparable to other seasons, and it will only create bias in your model, then you can exclude it here. But for now, I will just move forward with all seasons, because I'm just very much interested in what Jedox comes up with, including all the data. In this case, I do not want to work on a monthly interval, but I would prefer to work on a daily interval because I'm interested in each day that I can rent out bikes. For the next 12 months, I choose again for prediction type best. Here I have some more models available, some more options, and then in the time series analysis. So if you are familiar with it or are reading into it based on the PowerPoint presentation, for instance, which I showed earlier, you might choose which suits best. So for instance, there are some methods which are more suitable for data clustering, for big amounts of data, if there's seasonality involved, if you have multiple years, if you have daily data, you can, there are things to choose. And well, myself, I'm not an expert as well. But I have just read into some models as well, and I can just start just looking into and playing like what different algorithms provide me with the best accuracy, and that's something to start with. For now, I will just choose the best again, so let Jedox decide. And I have the option to choose a prediction shift, and in this case, that means that the source data will have a shift in time until the effect is can be shown in the data. So for instance, it might be the case if there's a month delay in this, between the source and the outcome. So that can be something depending on your payment terms, your schedule, or if you look into reservations, which might be based on a weather forecast, for instance, and reservation have to be made a week up front, then you have to choose a prediction shift of a week, because otherwise the relationship will be biased. We can proceed with it. We can schedule a prediction, or we can create an accuracy cube as well. But for now, I will just hit the button next. Choose I am sure and I want to execute, and then just wait for the AI server to calculate. And if it's calculating right now, then it will provide me with the information which is stored in Jedox right now. And this information can be used anywhere within the application in any kind of report or process. And to show you a first example, I can still again show you a preview which has been automatically provided. A little bit bigger, yeah. And here I see the prediction for the coming months. So it's predicted on a daily basis, but I see a summary per month here. And here I can, well, let me go back a little bit in time, maybe first 3 months back. So you can see also the actuals which have been provided. So here are the actuals to compare with, and the actuals in the table compare with the prediction you can see here below, which the accuracy has been calculated upon. And you can also see the temperature change in the temperature in this case. So you can see the relationship between those. And well, if you look into 2022, for instance, you can see a big outlier here that has been detected, but it's not really used in the forecast. So that is a different way. So that this does not have a line. This is not really related to the temperature change in this case, depending on the model tells. And also here we work with units. We can do this for any kind of data, of course, and we can also again just choose for other data in our Jedox environment to compare with. So very good information can be used, like Stijn introduced, to complement by the human skills. So you really work together between the software, the smart things the software provides, and of course the human interaction and the human knowledge that can be used to complement this information. Having said that, I would like to give the word back to Stijn and move back to this PowerPoint presentation. Stijn.
Yes, thanks, Christian, for the good introduction on how to use or set up an AI model within Jedox using the AI wizard. So here on I'm going to wrap up. So I think we still have 5 minutes. So first, I want to have a short, let's say, introduction on the customer reference case we have with Jedox. This is Apex Hotels. This is actually a sector that has been very strongly impacted by the current COVID situation. And what they wanted to achieve is to have a daily forecast of the revenue and bookings for the next 4 months. So this is important to see how many people they should have and stuff like that. So by using the AI-assisted driver based on their planning services, this resulted in a more accurate and automated forecast. As you see, they had an average of 95% versus actual and better than human planners. So this means that they were 95% of the time they were more accurate and better by using the AI-assisted planning wizard. Then to wrap up, my final slide, previous almost final slide, is so what did we see is actually how we can create an AI-infused prediction model in actually 3 simple steps. So first we go selecting the data, then we define the input of the data, and then we set up the prediction properties as shown by Christian. So this gives us, well, actually faster, more reliable and more granular forecasts by, first of all, supplying a helping hand to the planners and automate forecasting over time. One integrated solution for planning and forecasting. It also gives you a dynamic simulation and scenario analysis possibilities. It gives you a model that is built for the end user that requires no advanced analytical knowledge of stuff like that. So it's really business used model, and it's increased data quality with actually smart data preparation. So this being said, to wrap up and to say how we can proceed, there's actually 3 things we can provide to you. First of it is try before you buy. This means that you can start today. This can be or on-premise or Jedox in the cloud by downloading a trial and just give it a try yourself. Or our call to action, which we would definitely give it a try if you want to challenge iAxis to create a model in the Jedox technology based on your current Excel sheet or Excel model or whatever you have these days within Excel, and you want to give us a challenge, bring it to us, and we are going to build you a model within Jedox for only 750 euros. And then this result can be already there in 3 days, something like that, that we can show you how easy it is to create just a Jedox model based on your own Excel sheet. And then last but not least, there's also an online education available or our iAxis onboarding services, where you can quickly learn how to create your own BI and CPM solutions step by step with the Jedox online education or our consultancy services. This can be online workshops or face-to-face workshops. So this being said, let's get in touch. So I hope this was a good introduction on how to set it up. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Christian. This can be any kind of question. Feel free to call us whenever you like. I think there's no questions in the Q&A section, so I think everything is clear. Then I think we can finish the webinar for today, unless Christian has something else to finish off with.
No, for us it's for us it's okay. Thank you very much for your time, of course. And as Stijn said, please feel free to reach out. There are many possibilities in which Jedox can help. This is the AI engine, of course, but also for any kind of Excel-related challenges, yeah, feel free to contact. There are quite some good solutions, and you can do a lot yourself by, for instance, just using the free trial. And should you need any assistance or yeah, feel the need to get in touch with iAxis, of course, feel free to contact. We're there to help.
Okay, thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye.